Hey y'all, I'm Fran. This is Heritage Homestead. Thank you for joining me. This is a raspberry plant that I bought last year and I left it in the pot all year. It's struggled some and because it needed a bigger pot, but I did not transplant it out of the pot and it had put on runners and I didn't do anything with it, but now it's got a bunch of weeds and stuff in it. It definitely needs to come out of this pot. I need to get everything cleaned up. So I'm going to take it out of the pot, get the weeds out of it, probably completely just take it out of all the soil that is in it. And I am going to use my new trusty pruners that I got from Miss Nikki at the Everyday Life of an OCDist Chick to clean it up, and then after I get everything done I will bring you back and show you what it looks like after getting it cleaned up and getting the weeds out of it. Oh, and it is a Heritage Everbearing Raspberry. Here it is out of the pot, and it's got some really good roots on it. And as you can you see the bottom? It definitely needs a bigger pot. Yes, I need to plant it. However, I am not sure where we are going to put it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in a bigger pot and make it happy, and then figure out where we are going to be planting all of our raspberries and the blackberry and all the other actual berries that we have. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and I'll bring you back then. Okay, so after I got it out of the pot and got most of the dirt off of it, I noticed how many roots was in the bottom. There was quite a few, and the reason that it is struggling so much was this is the main plant, and most of the roots to that, these little tiny roots down here, I'm going to cut those off and leave the main roots that are up here, so I can cut all this mess off. It doesn't need them, and it will recover. It'll start making its own roots because it will think that it is being eaten. The roots are being eaten, so it will start putting out better root system. Well, as I was messing with it, I found a little teeny tiny one, and yes, it has its own little roots. Can you see? There are roots on this little teeny tiny one. And then there was this size, has its own roots. Then there was this one, has its own roots. This one has roots on it as well. It's a little bit larger. This one was on its own individual cane with lots of roots. And then there was this one. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The main one is 7. And then I thought there was another one, which it was kind of on a cane, but I only see one teeny tiny root on this one. But I'm going to trim off some of the leaves so it will start making roots. So I'll have that one. And then when I was cutting out all the junk, which is this, I accidentally cut it above where this one was coming out. So that one will get, can you see that? Right there. I cut it just below this. I did not mean to. I should have cut it up above. but I thought this was on its own little stalk, but it wasn't. So this part I'm going to stick in sand so I can see if I can get it to root. It should be okay, it should root. But yeah, after getting into the pot and seeing all the mess of roots, and when I was cutting it, I could tell that those smaller pieces and some of the other pieces were on their own individual cane. So I decided to go ahead and separate it, because that was one of the reasons why it was struggling so much, because it wasn't just one plant in the pot, it was several, and they were in competition with each other, so they truly needed to be separated. So here is the main plant with the tangled mess cut off of it, and this is everything that got cut off. So it did not need all of this. That was just a hindrance to it. And like I said, after cutting all that mess off, the roots will think that they are being eaten, so it will start producing better roots. It won't have all these little tiny hair roots. It'll start putting on better roots. So that's what it looks like now. And when I pot it up, I will put it in shade for a few days, so it will gradually get used to being potted up and the roots can start growing again. And that will help the plant to recover, and it'll start making roots and probably more shoots on this particular plant. Okay, y'all, another thing that I wanted to mention is when you are separating a plant, splitting a plant, or anything that you are doing to propagate it in any manner, especially from splitting it, make sure to have some water available, so that when you split the plant and get as much soil off the roots as you can, put them in some water. It will help them stay hydrated. It will help the roots from drying out, which is something you do not want when you are splitting a plant. You don't want the roots to dry out. So keep them in some water. It will keep the roots stress-free, and it will help the plant to recover. It will help the roots to recover. So always have water available. A lot of people will not tell you that when they're showing you what they're doing about splitting a plant. A lot of people may not actually stick the stuff in water, but I know that it's better for the plant for you to keep it as stress-free as possible when you're splitting, especially these, since I actually had to separate them the way I had to, and some of the roots got cut off, and then I had to cut and clean the root system on the mama plant on this. So water's best. Leave it sitting in water while you are potting them up. Okay, y'all, before I show you the finished product, I wanted to give you some information on the Heritage Everbearing Raspberry. The berries are dark red in color, they're large, they're very sweet, they're juicy, they're great fresh, frozen, or canned. It produces 2 crops a season, in the summer around July, and in the fall in September. And even though it is self-fertile, it can benefit from another cultivar, and in September you will have your biggest harvest. It is a fast-spreading variety, producing berries the first year, growing at a rate of 13 inches to 24 inches. It needs at least 6 hours of sunlight every day. It prefers deep, well-drained, fertile soil. It grows in a rounded shape. It requires 1 inch of water per week. Plants in the ground should be 3 feet apart, with rows being 6 feet apart. The raspberry produces on new canes each year, and the canes are biennial, meaning each year new canes lives for 2 years. Prune out old canes. Container planting requires a large enough container to accommodate new growth, or the plant may not thrive. and it may begin to die back. And even though the tag here says that it is hardy to -20 or -30, and they're recommending in general that it is hardy to zone 3 through 9, if it is hardy in zone 3, it would need protection. So it's kind of iffy on zone 3, but you can, if you protect it over the winter, you might be able to grow it there. Okay, so here is what I got done. I ended up with 2 larger pots. This is the little teeny tiny one, and then this is the next one. And what I did was all of the bad leaves that had spots or something that didn't look too great on them, I went ahead and cut all that off. And in this one here, that is the one that I accidentally broke off from the main plant, and I went ahead and dipped it in hormone, and I put it in sand and watered it, and now I've just got to wait to see if it will produce roots for me. On this one too, if you look, I went ahead and cleaned up most of the leaf on it, because they will lose water through their leaves, and if you're trying to root them, you don't want that. So cut back some of the leaves, leave a little bit of the leaf, and keep it watered so it can stay moist, and it should produce some roots for you. But anyway, y'all, if you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please share it out to people. Like my channel, leave me a comment, and if you're not a subscriber, I would love for you to join my channel. Okay, y'all, we'll talk to y'all later. Sorry if you can hear the wind. It is blowing extremely bad today. Have a beautiful day, everybody.